Many of us may be familiar with this, so I'll just do a brief introduction, stating first of all that touching the earth is one of the pillars of our practice in Plum Village. It gives us a chance to commune with the earth, our mother, our most ancient ancestor of 5 billion years. And this happens to be one of my favorite practices because I have the chance to touch the earth with my breath, with my body, and my conscious mind. And this, my friends, is a radical action of surrender and release. We commune not only with the earth, but with all beings, as we've already heard, within the earth, in the earth, on the earth, above the earth. And those that are seen and unseen. We get in touch with our 4 elements: earth, water, air, fire. It's not just connected to us, but is us. It is what we are made of, and without which we would not physically be here together. So when we begin this practice, there's several ways that we can touch the earth. We can, if I happen to be sitting and I choose not to touch the earth, then I join my palms and I bow and can place my palms on my lap, because that our lap is the earth. And it may also be that we're unable to make a movement like that. So even if we just close our eyes, because our upper lid will touch the lower lid, and that too is earth. And just to show you, I'll do a very short demonstration. I think most already know how to do touching of the earth. When the time comes, we just simply will stand and join our palms, and then we will touch the 3 points: our forehead, our heart. And we will go down to the ground and touch the earth. And I don't know if you can see me, but when we're on the earth, our palms are turned up. Okay? And you'll listen to what it is, to the reading, and then we'll be invited to stand. And sometimes we just don't, if we don't bow to all the way, do the prostration, we can just bow like this. So there are many different ways that we can touch the earth, whatever happens to work for us, remembering to breathe, right, in the strength of our powerful mother, and breathing out as we release the grief and suffering that we have collectively experienced this year. And so I am going to ask my sister to lead us in the first earth touching.
Thank you, Sister Peace. And so we'll begin in the upright posture. If you're going to be standing, just take a moment to get yourself upright and maybe move or shuffle a chair if you need to. And so our first earth touching is in recognition of this COVID pandemic that we have all lived through. If you want to start with your hands in front of your chest, you're welcome to. And as I invite a sound of the bell, we can mindfully and in whatever way is appropriate for your time and your body, touch the earth. We touch the earth, our dear, boundless Mother Earth, capable of receiving and transforming everything. And we bring the pain and grief of this pandemic, of this virus that has wreaked havoc all across the globe with, as of As of this afternoon, 1,824,718 recorded deaths, over 38 million cases. And we know it's not just the health impact, but the food and economic crisis, people who've lost homes and jobs and businesses, and especially the disproportionate harm of marginalized communities, poor communities, communities of color, those already struggling the most have been hit hardest. We get in touch with the hard labor offered by frontline workers, healthcare workers, the essential workers who are also treated as disposable workers in so many ways and so unjustly. So take a moment to see what grief lies in your heart around the COVID crisis. And if you can find some courage and space to actually feel and keep breathing, because the body might want to seize up and pull back. So keep breathing and see if you can especially exhale. If there's any grief that's ready to flow, to be released, exhale, give it to the earth as pure energy. She knows how to transform all. Keep breathing. And as we hear the next sound of the bell, we can come mindfully back to an upright posture. And in this standing or upright posture, perhaps with hands in front of the heart, we get in touch with the phenomenal resilience, collective care, and brilliance that has manifested this year. Communities and neighborhoods taking care of each other, food trains, grocery support, the music played from balconies to support lonely neighbors, the brilliance of scientific communities doing their best to create vaccines and find ways to support with medical advancement. Even in the midst of this pandemic, there are wonders happening, and let us feel how amazing this is. We need to get in touch with the grief, but also the gratitude, also the joy, also the wonder of all that has manifested. Even the fact that we're all here on Zoom together. Zoom already existed, but it wasn't doing necessarily this. The ways we do find to connect, the ways we do find to survive and even thrive. So keep breathing and let this sink in too. I invite Sister Peace to offer the next touching.
See if I can get you straight here. So, dear friends, I'm going to ask my sister to help with the bell, and let us take the position of touching the earth. Dear beloved ones, like Larry said to us earlier, each of us is a baby earth. So that means that we're made of billions years old elements. And so here, we will touch the earth and release the grief and sorrow of sanctioned violence. Wherever we happen to be on earth, there has been such violence. Naming police brutality and state brutality. And I must say the names of just some who have suffered death as a result. And that is George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Botham Jean, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Eric Gardner. Some of these as far back as 2014, but all added to the culmination of the collective grief that we endured through the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others this year. We've also experienced a catastrophe of leadership too many places around the world. We have had a refugee crisis grow and grow, billions of precious human bodies without a home, and some, probably most, with their lives at risk. Violence to those we consider the other. Trans people, especially trans people of color, people who may not look like us, may not pray like us, may not walk like us, may not be of our in-group or our club. Those, for whatever reasons, we consider other. Just the thought of other is an act of violence. The indigenous land appropriation and struggles of the indigenous movement to reclaim land, not just in 2020, but for 520 years. Our indigenous brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, cousins, aunts and uncles, and children have suffered at the hands of appropriation and continue to this day. May we embrace and release grief for this harm and all the harms to humanity around the globe. May we be aware. May we breathe. Let our breath touch the earth, touch our hands, touch the air. As we recognize and release this grief. Please stand up and join your palms at the sound of the bell. Standing or sitting, whatever position we're in, with our palms joined in the lotus, with our body and mind united as one through the breath, let us honor the resilience like a phoenix that has flown out of the flames, the awakening that has taken place as a result of the tragic death just here in America of George Floyd and others. and how this resilience, this flight out of the fire and ash flew around the world, around the globe. And all who heard these words, most anyway, rose up, stood up, marched, protested, and said, enough, enough. Bringing down more offensive statutes. And we know that as the outer statutes come down, so do the inner ones. Let us be grateful for leadership that is awakened and insightful, that we hope can lead us through this crisis and others. And an awakening also to the import of all the lands, of all the people. Not only our indigenous brothers and sisters here and around the world, but animals too, forests, oceans, and air. Let's continue and let us breathe. And let go. Twice more. In, out. In, out.
And we touch the earth once more now, recognizing, getting in touch with climate crisis and all of its repercussions, manifestations, expressions. Touching the earth. Just a year ago, many of us were reeling with the fires in Australia, fires that burned across so much of that country and other countries before we even knew of all these other disasters to come. And then as wildfires continued across the globe this year, especially those of us in the western parts of North America, fires, the biggest fires in history, fires people have never seen before. Smoke filling skies, scenes that had only been imagined in movies. Smoke, all of the health repercussions of the fires, and just the ongoing traumas, the fear, the panic and the danger, all the ways that humans and non-humans have been affected by these catastrophic fires. For we know that some wildfire is natural and needed and healthy, but what we're experiencing now is something different. And climate crisis this year was not just fires, it was hurricanes and floods, so many hurricanes coming back to places that didn't expect to have them again. And so much damage, so much fear, so much uncertainty. Again, disproportionately harming, impacting those who already have the least. There are bouts of locusts and so many crises brought about by changing patterns of weather, crops failing in certain areas, these compound disasters that also play a part in the migrant crisis as climate change makes certain areas impossible for people to continue their lives to such a scope that it is hard for most human minds to fathom, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed, maybe to shut down. And so whatever is felt, anywhere from numbness to ignoring, to overwhelm, to curiosity, to compassion, whatever is felt, please let that be felt and breathe. Keep breathing and give these emotions, give this care, because that's why we have these emotions, because we care, we are connected. We couldn't feel like this if there wasn't a connection. Give it back to the earth. See what is ready to release. And with the exhale, and we come back to standing. Come back to an upright, seated or standing pose. Eyes open, palms in front of the heart, and recognizing the ways people have cared for each other, the ways beings have been cared for through these crises. Again, the resilience and the brilliance, the beauty of human connection, of interspecies connection that sometimes we only see at the worst moments. Feel the goodness, the hope, the brave scientists who, despite being ignored for their important work sometimes, that continue to teach and find alternative technologies. There is so much good that we can connect with if only we remember. So breathe this in and be strengthened by it.
Dear beloved family, we'd like now for you to assume the pose of touching the earth, as this is a moment of transition. Let us be in prostration and supplication. And this earth touching is your earth touching. This is what you want to give to the earth, what you want to release for transformation, transmutation. Whatever is in your heart, perhaps some of the things that some of you were here earlier with the prompts, and you were able to express what were some of the things that you were sorrowful for. What were some of the things that caused you grief? What were some of our challenges? In the year 2020, as we pass over this physical portal of space and time, we are holding focus, concentration, and mindfulness. We are releasing, surrendering, letting go gently, letting go with love, letting go with forgiveness. Letting go, letting go, letting go.
And in the standing position, we receive, we acknowledge, we cultivate, we get in touch with the joys and gratitude of this last year, the resilience, the healing that we have found, the moments of joy and peace, sometimes minutes and hours and days. Feel the goodness of this evening, the beauty of this community coming together as just one small part of this last year. Feel it in the body, breathe it in, let it strengthen, deepen, take root, and blossom.
We are grateful because we know that on the other side of grief is forgiveness, is joy. And we're grateful to be aware of the interbeing of all things. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. To welcome in the new year, we invite you to see if there are movements your body wants to make, maybe similar to what Peggy had us do earlier of opening arms or stretching or swaying. Are there movements that can help or that your body wants to make? Movements that bring a sense of this rejoicing, bring a sense of resilience, bring a sense of empowerment and contentment. You can turn off your video if you don't feel comfortable being seen with these gestures. It doesn't matter, whatever feels genuine. And there might not be a lot of movement that arises, but it is the new year. Every moment is a new year. Every moment, as Ty would like to say, new year, new me. We get to be new in every moment, especially when we remember that we can think differently and live in new ways. So we share this joy of the new year. We offer it to ourselves, our communities, to the whole cosmos. Breathe. Continue breathing this in too. Maybe we want to do some mouth yoga of lifting the corners of our mouths, stretching our faces, giving ourselves kind touch. Which is a bit of a segue into Sister Peace. After we've done our earth touching, she's going to lead us in our earth huggings.
Dear beloved ones, we can't leave each other without hugging. And cyberspace is a great place to hug. So I want to share with you 3 Earth Huggings. And the first one, many of us may already know. Oh, we just hug ourselves and we imagine someone, if you like, a beloved we can't be near, just hugging us. Most importantly, hugging and self-love for ourselves. And the second one I want to share with you is called a face hug. So take your hands and hold your face most gently. Ah, isn't that delicious? Isn't that wonderful? Just close your eyes, and I just think of myself as a little girl and my Grammy or my aunties taking my face and shaking it. How are you doing? It's a very intimate gesture for us to offer one another. And we can offer it virtually, and the time will soon come that we can offer it in each other's physical space. And the third earth hugging I want to share with you is one that I practice all the time. And not necessarily people realize that I'm doing it, but I want to share with you eye hugging. So let me look in your beautiful eyes. There are 6 pages of wonderful friends. Just connecting, and eye hugs always come with smiles. This is the great thing. Look at those eyes of those kids. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful to eye hug? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is when we know we're truly being seen. Someone is truly present for us, and we are really loved. So this is a practice that we can do all year long, especially on the Zoom. So thank you for engaging with me. The eye hugs.